So in this next section, I'm going to be sharing with you best practices for your shop basics in terms of setting up your shop. One of the most important decisions you'll make is what to name your shop, and there are a few mistakes to avoid. So this is something you do want to think about a little bit before you name your shop. You don't want to be too general. Everything for moms doesn't tell buyers anything. So you want to be thinking about your audience and about keywords when you're naming your shop. Mugs for Moms, for example, tells your audience that they've come to the right place if they want a mug for their mom. So you can see the difference there. The first one is just too general. The second one tells you exactly what's going to be included and what you focus on at your shop. Now, you don't want to go too narrow either. Mugs for Single Christian Moms is too specific, and you may not attract any buyers at all. And also, too, if you have a variety of merchandise you're going to be doing, you could go more with a general overview or niche as long as it's specific. Like if you're doing something that's maybe focused on fairies, you could do something like, fairy magic or something like that, even if you have a variety of different merchandise. So you also don't want to rebrand too often. If you're constantly changing your Etsy shop name, you're going to be losing people because people are going to wonder what happened to you and they're not going to be able to find you as much. And the best way to choose your brand is to spend some time thinking about what you want to sell and who you want to sell it to. For example, you want to sell matching shirts to couples, you could call it sweetheart shirts or something like that. So you want to be thinking a little bit about, your avatar, your audience, the type of people who are your perfect fit for what you're going to be selling. And you might want to consider separate stores if you plan to sell to many different audiences. So for example, work-at-home moms is completely different than, guys who are into survival. So completely different. And so for something like that, you might want to set up separate stores. So when you're creating your first product, I just want to go over some pointers with this. So Etsy wants you to have your first product ready to go, and you can use designs like this. This is print on demand, or you can put together your own printable. So this design on the left is from Creative Fabrica, which is one of my favorite design and image stores, and it comes with commercial use rights. And they found that there. Now, we talked about a little bit in the last section how you would need to change this, and I'm going to go into it a little bit more. So when you're downloading sort of mass-produced designs from places like Creative Fabrica, it's a good starting point, but you do need to modify it because it does need to be unique. Now, again, that doesn't mean you have to create something completely from scratch. So sort of the workflow with this is you would download it, you would make your changes, and then you would upload that over at a print-on-demand service. Printify is a good one. And then you select the products you want to appear it on, and then you tie that in, and you have your first product to add to Etsy. And we'll be going through more of that step by step in the demonstration section as well. Now, there are a lot of sites that you can find design or design elements. I talked about Creative Fabrica, and I'll go over some of the other ones, but you really need to look and make sure you use a commercial use license, which means you can use that element or design to make products you plan to profit from. And a lot of times, too, these places are happy to give you a commercial use license, but they do ask that you incorporate it into the rest, like another part of another design, or you make some changes as well. Now, here are some other places you can download commercial use designs or elements. So Creative Market, Pixabay, which is free for commercial use, Font Squirrel, Unsplash, Google Fonts, Creative Fabrica. So these are design elements. They're not, you're still going to be doing some things with them, but they're good starting places. And as I was just saying, many of these sites do require you to change the design, and you want to do that because Etsy does want you to have a unique design, and it also just keeps the market from being flooded with the exact same designs as well. So how can you change your designs? There's a lot of ways to do this quickly. You can change the colors, pick different fonts, include new clip art, add a banner or other element, change the spacing, put a border around it. And so don't be thinking you have to completely, redo the design. You can change the background color, you can put a border around it, things along those lines. Now, when you have your design set up and your listing ready, then you're going to set your prices. So if you're doing price research, you want to go to Etsy and start searching for the type of product that you'll be selling. You want to use different search terms. For example, let's say you're selling t-shirt for fathers. You type in a phrase like dad shirt, father apparel, Father's Day shirt, things along those lines. If you are selling a menu planner, you would type in menu planning, meal planner, diet planner, things along those lines. So you really need to, if you want to find out what you're going to sell your items for, you need to do some price research. And you also want to pay attention to products that are marked bestseller. They'll have a small pink banner under them. If you look at the dad shirt there on the top left, the one that says dad established 2019, you'll see it's been labeled a bestseller. And that's going to tell you what people want to pay or happy to pay. So $14.99 seems to be a sweet spot for these types of t-shirts, for example. Now we're going to be getting into setting up your Etsy shop and showing you that step by step in the demonstration.